And now we're ready to wrestle, Dan.
Yes, we are.
Here we go. We're going to start at 106 pounds with John Coomer of Berkshire. He's 30-9 this year. He's going to wrestle Garrettsville Garfield's Guy Pert, a sophomore who comes in at 19-19.
Coomer was the favorite here at the sectional tournament. Another one of the favorites at this weight class would have been Zach Williamson of Kirtland, but Williamson had
Brendan Williamson.
That's right, Brendan Williamson, Zach's brother. Brendan Williamson, he had an illness to deal with, so Crummer, the clear number one seed here, and he's had a great tournament so far. They start in the center. Crummer in on a single leg, gets around, and nice defense by Pert. And right at the edge of the mat, he almost gets a takedown, but they will not give it to him. They reset neutral in the center. 1:15 left in the first period. And now Pert in on an attack. He gets the two. Cummer immediately gets up, trying to get away for a 1-point escape, and he does. 1 minute left in the first period. It's 2-1 Pert over Cummer. Both sophomores. Pert, as Steve said, 19-19 on the year. Cummer 30-9. Cummer in on a shot, single leg. Really nice defense by Pert, and he very easily might come out of this with a takedown. He's on top. The thing is, he has not established control yet. The Garfield coaches are asking why it's not two yet, but he hasn't established control, and it looks like Cummer might be able to get out the back. The Garfield coaches are going to protest this as time runs out. In the first period, it will end 2-1 in favor of Pert from Garfield over Cummer from Beachwood. Not Beachwood, Berkshire.
Yeah, Pert, the sophomore, he finished third at the Waterloo D3 Challenge earlier this year, and he was second at both Jackson Milton and the Cardinal Holiday Tournament. So he comes in with a pretty solid resume.
And as the referee just discussed with the coach, there was no control. And there was a coach misconduct warning for Garfield. I'm not really sure what that means as far as team points goes, but that's not really a good thing. So the second period will start. It is 2-1 Pert over Cummer. Cummer will choose to start in the bottom position. If he gets an escape, he'll tie the match up at 2. Pert on top will be looking for near fall points. Oh, wow, nice reversal by Cummer. And he does get it. Now he leads 3-2. Cummer now looking to score near fall points by putting Pert to his back. Pert looking to escape and get 1 point to tie the match up at 3.
Cummer is in his fourth year of wrestling. He's already a returning district qualifier as a sophomore. Carries a 3.1 grade point average, so he also excels in the classroom.
Cummer riding tough on top. He's already got 2 back points when Pert goes back over. You can't score multiple sets of back points from the same move. That's why they didn't show it yet. Okay, so it's 5-2 because of those back points in favor of Cummer. Cummer still on top, riding the legs. Well, trying to ride the legs. Pert defending. Well, he was defending pretty well, but then Cummer readjusted, got him right back on his back, and the referee is holding down 2 more back points, and Cummer will extend his lead to 7-2. Injury time for Pert, 7-2 is the score. 38 seconds left in the second period.
That shoulder's really bothering him here, the right shoulder, as Cummer was cranking on that a little bit, trying to get that power half in there.
He was. And a power half, especially from the legs like that, it does put a lot of pressure on the shoulder. So that's I wouldn't say a normal thing, but it happens.
And the other thing is, just because these kids only weigh 106 pounds, it doesn't mean they're not strong. John Cummer is very strong, and you can see that. He's got a heck of a build there, but a lot of power in that 106 pound.
Absolutely. And neither of these two are strangers to success. I mean, with Cummer, you see 30 wins. With Pert, you see 19 wins. So they're winning lots of matches.
Over on the mat number 2, the third place match, we've got Jake Buteri from Wycliffe wrestling Newberry's Robert Couch. It looks like Buteri's winning that match 1-0 in the third period. Oh, and now he's getting some back points. And he gets the fall. That'll be a 3-minute, 40-second fall for Buteri over there to take third place.
Both of them freshmen, so this will be their first time at the district tournament for both wrestlers. It'll also be the first time at the district tournament for Pert, who's here wrestling for first place.
Looks like he's going to give it a go here with that sore shoulder, obviously still bothering him as he's wiggling it around and squeezing it there with his left hand, obviously bothering him.
Now, why it's important to get first as opposed to second or third as opposed to fourth is for seeding the following week. If you get first at your sectional, you face a wrestler who got fourth at his sectional. If you get third, you face a wrestler who got second in his sectional, as opposed to the opposite. No, wrong. Third at his sectional. If you get third at your sectional, you face a wrestler who got second as opposed to first. That's what I meant to say.
Yes, you don't want to go in as the number 4 seed because you will face a number 1. That's a sectional champion. You have a much better shot, obviously, going up against a number 2 seed or a number 3 seed if you finish second, but you certainly don't want to go in as that number 4.
Yeah, exactly.
The long and short of it.
Exactly. So Cummer's on top. He's leading 9-2. 30 seconds left in the second period.
That'll be injury time again, same shoulder.
Clasping call, penalty point on Cummer. That makes the score 9-3 in favor of Cummer.
Oh, it looked to me as if Pert was calling for injury time. The way he was rubbing that shoulder. But, yeah, you were right on that illegal.
Right. And it's common when you hear free move.
And the referee actually just ended the match. So John Cummer will win by injury default. And I'll tell you what, that's probably a good move. Better to live and wrestle another day than to maybe risk damaging that shoulder anymore and then missing the entire district tournament. So hopefully Guy Pert can get some ice on that thing and come back healthy next week.
Absolutely, and you want to protect the wrestler too. I mean, you don't want to. I know we want to be tough and everything, but we don't want to damage, the wrestler for a longer period of time.
So that'll take us to the 113-pound bout, and that'll be Cardinals' Trent Mast, a sophomore with a 30-5 record. He will wrestle Brookfield Jr. Gavin Miglitz, who comes in with a 26-12 mark.
And to recap, at 106 pounds, which we just had, John Cummer got first place, winning by injury default over Garfield's Guy Pert. For third place, Wycliffe's Jake Butari won by pin over Newberry's Robert Couch. We move on to 113 pounds. In the red is Mast from Cardinal. In the blue is Miglitz from Brookfield.
And And just to give you an update on the team scores entering the championship round, Kirtland was in first place with 125 points and 4 finalists. Cardinal was in second with 122.5 points with 4 finalists. And Pymatuning Valley was in third place with 120 points. So obviously a very tight team race here. And Cardinal has a chance to take a lead here if Trent Mast can claim a victory here at the 113-pound bout.
And he's in on a shot right now. Crafty defense by Miglitz with a double overhook tie, and he was able to get out of it. So no score, 30 seconds into the first period. Mast versus Miglitz. Mast in again on a single.
Mast is no stranger to the sectional tournament. He was a district qualifier last year. Miglitz also qualified for the district tournament in 2013-2014. He's a junior. This year he was 4th at the Eastern Ohio Wrestling League tournament, 4th at the Howland Invitational, and 8th at the Hefner tournament. While Trent Mast, he was 3rd at the CBC tournament. He won the Cardinal tournament. He won the Northwestern tournament. He was 3rd at Jackson Milton and 4th at Aurora.
And all these accolades, from young wrestlers. Mast only a sophomore, Miglitz only a junior. Combined, they've won 56 matches between them.
And once again, I want to point out that he excels in the classroom as well, Trent Mast. He carries a 3.6 GPA, so all you young wrestlers out there, remember, it's not just what you do on the mat, but be strong in the classroom as well.
And 35 seconds left in the first period. The score is 1-0 in favor of Mast. Mast has gotten in on the majority of the scoring opportunities in this match. He's really pushing the action, and he is again. Gets in on a single. The Brookfield coaches are calling for a quarter Nelson, but Miglitz is not going to be able to get that in this position. Cardinal coaches are saying no spladle, and it did look like Miglitz was looking for the spladle.
Over on mat number 2 for third place, we have Berkshire's Alex Hansen wrestling Kirtland's Mike Peterson. And over there, it looks like Peterson is leading right now 4-2 midway through the second period. So Kirtland needs a win there to kind of keep pace with Cardinal should Trent Mast win this 113-pound bout.
And they reset in the center to begin the second period. Miglitz chooses the bottom position. If he escapes, he will tie the match at 1 apiece. Mast to be looking for near fall points.
Got to give a shout out to Berkshire's Riley Carey. He's our cameraman tonight. So Riley, thank you for volunteering your time. Now you know who to blame if the camera isn't following the action.
Absolutely. All right, so back to the action. 20 seconds into the second period. Mast still riding Miglitz. He's got a tight waist and an arm bar on the near arm, or the left arm.
You know, Dan, we talked earlier about this being a one-day tournament. And, what the tournament lacked earlier as far as quality and, some of the competitive wrestling. The 120-pound bout is one of those matches that I've been looking forward to, and that's Hawkins-Lewis DeMarco, a returning state qualifier, against Pymatuning Valley's Mitch Scaleras, another returning state qualifier. So here we are, the sectional finals, and you're going to see two state qualifiers going head-to-head. I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. That's going to be a great one, and the one immediately following it also will be. It's rare that you see a freshman get a number 1 seed, especially over a wrestler as good as Ian Mast, who has state credentials.
Yes, and that freshman, Logan Kissel from Garrettsville Garfield, already has 2 wins over Ian Mast, and I think that played into that sectional seeding.
Absolutely it did, and he's also a youth state champion. Last year at the junior high state tournament, he placed 3rd. Remember, the junior high state tournament is not divided up into divisions. So you have kids from Garfield, Division III, wrestling against St. Ed's. So it makes a big difference. It makes it tougher.
Sure does. That increases the quality of competition you face.
And Miglitz And Miglitz escapes. So that cuts the lead to 2-1. 1 minute left in the second period. Miglitz with a front headlock.
Shout out to Beachwood's Jason Ladon for making sure we're well hydrated here at the table. It's always a benefit.
Absolutely.
He could have thrown in some nachos or something like that.
Right. That would be great on a broadcast, just chomping. Okay, so back to the action. 38 seconds left in the second period. 1-1. It's tied. Mast will have his choice of position in the third period, so it's imperative that Miglitz does get a score sometime either in this period or the last one.
Updating you on the third place bout, Mike Peterson from Kirtland is now up 10-6 over Berkshire's Alex Hansen. Again, that's a must-win for Kirtland to keep pace here. Cardinal could add 4 points here for a first-place finish. Kirtland could add 2 points over there for a third-place finish. So, again, that'll keep the score very close in that team race.
And speaking of the team race, Cardinal has done a very good job to hang in there and be right there with Kirtland in the race for first. We'll begin the third period. Still 1-1. Mast got his choice position. He will choose the bottom. If he escapes, he will lead 2-1. So 1 point in this context means a ton.
Peterson up 12-6 as time runs out, so he'll win that third place bout 12-6. That'll give Kirtland an extra 2 points. So I'll keep you updated on their team score. It's 127. The Cardinals 122.5 right now.
Miglitz still riding Mast, and he's doing a really good job of it. 30 seconds in. Mast has had a few opportunities to escape, but Miglitz has kept some good pressure on him. Now he's trying to get the legs in. He's a little high, though. Now he's got a body scissors. And Mast hunting for the head, and he gets a reversal and a half. Cardinal coach is telling Mast to pull him in, but they go out of bounds. 1 minute left in the match. Mast up 3-1, and he's on top. The ref calls unsportsmanlike conduct on Cardinal. They'll be penalized 1 team point. That
will come back to haunt them in this close team race. That 1 point. Never want to see that happen when you're in a 2.5 point race for the team title.
And it's interesting. Kirtland got docked a team point earlier today because one of their wrestlers did not have their singlet straps up. So both of the top 2 teams got docked a point.
Mast riding tough on top. 48 seconds.
And Miglitz very active on the bottom. You can tell he's pressing to get out right now.
Yeah, 46 seconds left. You've got to do everything you can. You need that escape and a takedown. A reversal obviously would tie the match.
Absolutely. And the difference between first and second is huge because if you get first, you are the top dog in your quarter bracket at the district tournament. If you get second, you still have to face a sectional champion from another sectional. Mast riding well. Miglitz did almost get out right at the edge. He got some hip separation, but they did go out of bounds, and they'll reset in the center. 23 seconds left in the match. Mast still up 3-1. Oh, and Miglitz gets a switch, almost gets a reversal.
Oh, boy.
Mast presses into the single leg. And Miglitz looking for a spladle.
Mast, all he's got to do is hold on, pop that head. 5 seconds, 2 seconds. And he's going to hold on to win. Trent Mast, 3-1.
Really good adjustment by Mast at the end of the match. That could have easily been a reversal for Miglitz. Great match by both of those wrestlers.
Well, here we go, Dan, 120 pounds. You've got Louis DeMarco, a 3-time sectional champion from Hawken. He's 36-1 this year, a returning state qualifier. And he's going to wrestle the number 2 seed out of Pymatuning Valley, a sophomore, Mitch Scaleris, another returning state qualifier. He's 29-6 this year. So this one should be one of those ones where you hide the women and children. You got 2 great wrestlers on the mat. You don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. And both of these wrestlers obviously coming in with very high credentials. DeMarco being the 3-time sectional champion, right now the favorite here. But Scaleris, if you're at the state level, especially, remember, he made the state tournament as a freshman last year. I mean, this kid's only a sophomore. You got to think he's on the steep end of the learning curve. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Scaleris, a very athletic family from Pymatuning Valley. They had, I remember a brother Drew recently who placed at the district tournament at 215, and I know they have a whole bunch of other Scalerises around, especially around the wrestling program. So, all right, back to the action. A minute 15 left in the first period. Neither wrestler has scored a point. Right now they're in a front offense position. Scaleris with the upper hand slightly. And they get a stalemate and reset in the center. 1:02 left in the first.
Over on mat number 2, wrestling for 3rd place, you have Brandon Nevison of Cardinal against Garfield's Ryan Finney. Finney currently leads that match 4-0 at the start of the second period. And on mat 3, wrestling for 5th place, you have Kirtland's Dan Janke and Newberry's Mike Weston. And that match has Weston on top 2-0, also at the start of the second period.
Back on the center mat, it is still 0-0, 34 seconds left in the first period. Both wrestlers doing a great job squaring up and fending off everything the other wrestler has. Like that right there. A barrel roll attempt by DeMarco, and Scaleris just basically builds a base and stops it.
DeMarco, he's won 3 tournaments this year, the Hawken Invitational, the North Coast Classic, and the Rocco Russo Invitational. He was 2nd at districts last year and placed 8th in the state tournament.
That we're going to the second period. DeMarco chooses the bottom position. If he escapes, he'll get the first point in the match, which means he will have his choice should it go to the sudden death overtime, or the ultimate tiebreaker, as they now call it. But Scaleris has other ideas. He's riding tough, and he's going to look for near-fall points.
Scaleris, one of those smart wrestlers, carries a 4.0 GPA. He was 2nd at the EOWL, the Eastern Ohio Wrestling League tournament, 2nd at Jackson Milton, and 4th at Kenston this season.
DeMarco really in on a nice single from the bottom position, so he would be getting a reversal should he take Scaleris to his back or just get control. Oh, geez. All right, so they stopped that for potentially dangerous. It was potentially dangerous because DeMarco's knee was being bent at a very acute angle. So they'll reset in the center. Actually, that was probably a good thing for Scaleris.
Yeah, Dan, but I'm more impressed that you threw out acute angle in a wrestling broadcast.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, both of my parents and my brother are all math teachers, so.
Well, I guess that explains it. I'll let Greg know that you threw that out.
All right, so back to the action. 1 minute left in the second period. Still 0-0. DeMarco on the bottom Sclaris on top. DeMarco again in on a single leg. And if he can convert on this, he will get the first, not only first point, but the first 2 points in the match. Sclaris showing great defense, though. And unorthodox defense, too. Yep. They call us a potentially dangerous again for the same reason. I wonder if he keeps doing that, I wonder if that would eventually be stalling or not. And he's out. 30 seconds left in the second period. DeMarco from Hawken leads 1-0 over Mitch Sclaris from Pymatuning Valley.
Well, we knew this was going to be a struggle. Both of them are extremely exceptional wrestlers, and they're showing it here through a period, almost 2 periods now. There's 13 seconds left here in the second.
Now remember, Sclaris has his choice to begin the third period, and you have to think that he's going to choose the bottom position.
If I was a betting man, Dan, yes, I'd bet that he'd take the bottom position. Try and get that early escape and then battle on your feet.
So if Sclaris chooses bottom and escapes, and they go to overtime, if they go to the ultimate tiebreaker, DeMarco is going to get his choice because he scored first. And Sclaris does choose the bottom position. He will have to escape, though. DeMarco at 36-1 is very tough on top, but Sclaris does escape rather quickly, too.
About 15 seconds on that escape. And just to update you on that third place match, you now have Ryan Finney from Garfield up on Brandon Nevison of Cardinal 9-0 with about 20 seconds to go. And the fifth place match has gotten a lot closer. Mike Weston of Newberry now leads Dan Janke of Kirtland 6-4 with 1:10 left in the third period.
And there's blood time on the center mat. 1.5 minutes left in the third period. It's still tied 1-1. Basically, what this means is Sclaris has 2.5 minutes to score a takedown. That's basically what this means, because he's gonna want to score in overtime. He's not gonna want to go to the ultimate tiebreaker.
Right. So that's where that 2.5 minutes come in. You have 1.5 minutes left, and then 1 minute of the overtime period in which Dan was referencing that 2.5 minutes. But here we go. Oh, some action over there on mat number 3. Daniel Janke with a takedown, and he's got Mike Weston on his back. He's trailing 8-7, but he's back. Oh, and there's the fall. 30 seconds left in the third period. So that's a big win for Kirtland, who will add 2 bonus points on that pin.
And back to the action on the center mat. We have 1 minute left in the third period. Still 1-1. DeMarco again in on a nice single leg. He's deep, but Sclaris once again finding a way to counter it with crafty defense. And they call a stalemate again. Reset in the center. 45 seconds left in the third period.
Want to mention Louis DeMarco, who carries a 3.8 grade point average. He is headed to the University of Chicago, where he will continue his education and wrestling career. So good luck to Louis in his future up at Chicago.
And now Sclaris in on a shot. A deep one. Single. DeMarco is going to have to counter it, and he does, and they go out of bounds.
Wow, that was close.
It really was.
The PV fans behind us were calling for the 2, but wasn't quite there.
No, not quite there, because DeMarco had a whizzer and Sclaris had a seatbelt, and that's not a control position.
Oh,
DeMarco
nice
with a duck, and he can't quite finish.
5 seconds. It looks like we're headed to overtime. I think Dan called it about 1.5 minutes ago, so we are headed to overtime, 1-1.
And it's even more imperative for Sclaris to be the one to attack and score, because DeMarco is going to have his choice in the ultimate tiebreaker.
If my math is correct, Kirtland now holds a 131 to 125.5 lead over Cardinal in the team race, with a whole bunch of wrestling left tonight, so that's going to change probably eight or 9 more times.
All right, overtime begins. It's a minute. First points wins. DeMarco in on a deep shot. This one he could convert on. He steps over the near leg.
All Scleris can hope for now is a stalemate, but it looks like DeMarco could finish. Oh, he's got that leg tied up. Nice defense.
Wow.
As long as he's holding that leg. Oh, and that's the best thing that could have happened for Scleris. Just got bailed out by the blood.
Wow. All right, two things on that. Scleris did kind of get bailed out by blood, but holy cow, that defense.
Oh, that was a nice job.
It really was.
I think everybody in the gym thought that was going to be a takedown, and Scleris did a real nice job fending that off.
He did. That's funk defense right there. It's really good funk defense.
Whatever it takes, right?
Absolutely.
So here we are. All eyes are on the center mat. Louis DeMarco, Mitch Scleris, 2 returning state qualifiers. Going nose to nose for 6 minutes. It wasn't enough to decide the match. It's 1-1 with 30 seconds left in the first overtime.
And Hawken has had some really standout wrestlers recently. One that comes to mind is state placer Seth King.
He's standing over there on mat number 2 right now. Nice to see Seth.
Pymatuning Valley had the Millers, who were very good, like the Campbells. Some Campbells now at the youth level, too. So
need more of them at the youth level. Campbells, Joneses, Smiths, whatever it takes.
Absolutely.
Need bodies to help the youth program feed into the middle schools and the high schools. You got to keep wrestling alive. It's when you look at this tournament, it started out with 102 kids yesterday, and after weigh-ins, we were down to 89, and that's why it's a one-day tournament now. Independence was a one-day tournament. Willoughby South, a Division I sectional, was a one-day tournament. Sport of wrestling really needs some help.
It does, and it's going to come from the bottom up, and we have to get the youth kids in and have them have a good experience and then work up until they're, the juniors and seniors in high school. You see wrestling here. So Scleris in on a shot. It really wasn't a deep one, though, and he doesn't get it.
He was reaching there. That allowed DeMarco to fend that off pretty easily.
I wonder how much he's pressing because he knows he doesn't have the choice. Scleris, I mean. 13 seconds left in the first overtime period. DeMarco in on a shot. Scleris
4 seconds, going to run out of time.
Nah, neither wrestler score. We go to the 30-second ultimate tiebreaker. DeMarco will have his what?
DeMarco deferred.
Wait a minute. Did I get that wrong with the overtimes? It's not ultimate tiebreaker anymore. Oh, because they're doing top and bottom.
Yep,
gotcha.
30-second periods.
I forgot the 30-second periods.
So DeMarco deferred, which allowed Scleris to choose the down position, which is kind of smart on DeMarco's part because, if Scleris gets a takedown, now if he gets a reversal, now DeMarco knows what he has to do from that bottom position as opposed to you go 30 seconds and give up an escape and then come back and you're on top in that second 30-second period and you give up a reversal, you lose the match.
Absolutely. And you know what? We just saw a reversal of what has been happening all match right there with DeMarco with some crafty defense getting the potentially dangerous and stopping the action. Scleris trying to switch.
Just shows you the skill of these two wrestlers, that the defense that they had on their feet and now on the mat that we've seen over the last 6 minutes. So here we go. Scleris couldn't escape, so it's 1-1. DeMarco, all he has to do is get to his feet, break free.
But yeah, and they'll still let the 30 seconds go out.
Yeah, so wrestlers have to be aware. They can't just escape and then start celebrating because they can give up a takedown just as easily in that 30 seconds.
Scleris trying to get the legs in. DeMarco was doing a pretty good job keeping him out, but now he's flat.
7 seconds to go. DeMarco's going to have a real explosive move here to win this match in this tiebreaker.
Well, that was a nice explosive move, but he just didn't quite get out. And there it is. Now we're in the ultimate tiebreaker.
Now you've got the ultimate tiebreaker. This is where the decision becomes very, very important. Now, I'll tell you what. DeMarco just chose top, and I was going to say that it's not always wise to take the bottom position when you've just gotten rode out for 30 seconds. True. And then earlier in the match you got rode for quite a while. I think it's a pretty smart move. All he's got to do is hold on for 30 seconds. Scleris, all he's got to do is escape.
20 seconds now. 10 seconds got ran off in that last flurry. Now, DeMarco, if he gets that leg, he will have to improve his position or they'll call stalling on him. Thing is, that would be a warning. It wouldn't be a point.
Right. These two guys have gone toe-to-toe. 7 minutes.
And there it is. There's the stalling warning.
10 seconds to go. He's going to have to improve now. You give up a stalling point and you'll lose the match. Can't just hang on the feet. Louis DeMarco is 4 seconds away from becoming a 4-time sectional champion. It's a pretty rare feat when you consider it, especially at this sectional where in the history there's been some really tough wrestlers. And there it is. Louis DeMarco will win the ultimate tiebreaker, 2-1, and he becomes a 4-time Division III Beachwood Sectional champion. Louis DeMarco.
And that was a great match by both wrestlers. You are not going to see a more evenly contested, better match with more scrambles and everything than that.
That was everything I had hoped it would be and knew it would be. I wasn't disappointed. Now we're going to move into another head-to-head matchup that I was looking forward to. At 126 pounds, you have Cardinal Senior Ian Mast, who's 29-4, returning state qualifier, going head-to-head with Garrettsville Garfield's Logan Kissel, a freshman with a 40-4 mark, and 2 of those 40 wins came over Ian Mast.
And this is not your normal freshman here. Logan Kissel was a youth state champion. He was 3rd at the junior high state tournament last year. He's had thousands of matches already under his belt at an extremely high level, so he's very battle-tested and ready to go against the senior. With that said, Ian Mast is as good as they come, and he's extremely battle-tested himself. And he gets in on a nice single leg. Climbs up the body. Kissel with some interesting defense, and he does end up getting out of it. He gets a stalemate.
Yeah, one thing we need to point out when we talk about Kissel beating Mast twice this year, the first time was at the Cardinal tournament where it was Mast's first action from after he came back from an injury. So he wasn't in shape, he wasn't in wrestling condition, and not making excuses for him. But, yeah, when you're away from the game a little bit and you come back in that first action and you're wrestling a quality opponent like Kissel, you're not at the top of your game. And the second time he got caught in a 5-point move and just wasn't able to come back. But, certainly the 2 matches were a lot closer than they appear on paper.
And Kissel working to get around. He's got a quarter Nelson in, but he's not really turning anything with it. So 35 seconds left in the first period, both 0-0. Both wrestlers have had deep attempts, scoring attempts, but neither wrestler has been able to convert.
Over on the third place mat, you have Hawkins' Michael Miller against Beachwood's Ben Kate. They're in the second period, scoreless. And over on the fifth place mat, it looks like Wycliffe's Dominic Billy just defeated Alex Lampert of Newberry.
And time runs out in the first period, 0-0, Mast and Kissel.
Yeah, I think this plays into Mast's hand here. You want to gain a little bit of confidence. You don't want to come out and give up an early lead to Kissel. So I think the longer this one stays close, the better off Ian Mast is, where you gain that confidence. And, third period, you never know what happens.
And Mast chooses bottom to begin the second period. Now, if he escapes, he will get the first point. And as we saw in the last match, that could pay off if it goes to the ultimate tiebreaker.
Yeah, Kissel, a freshman, as we mentioned. He was first at Cardinal, first at Jackson Milton. He was first at the Beachwood Invitational, and he also won the Waterloo tournament. He was 8th at the Bill Deese tournament, and that's one of the tougher tournaments in Northeast Ohio. So he's a quality wrestler. And then 3rd in the Portage Trail Conference tournament.
Kissel with an armbar now on the near side, looking for the far wrist, trying to run it over. I wonder how many times in the last 2-3 years Ian Mast has even been close to being turned.
Not many, but there it is. He's almost got a 1 count. And there it is. There's the back points. That's a tough move to get out of. It's a tough move to fight out of. And
Absolutely.
Ian Mast, he just did that, but he gave up the 3 back points, so Kissel's up 3-0.
Mast is now going to have to recover. Get up and out. 40 seconds left. And then
I've got to say, after watching Logan Kissel now, this is the second time I've seen him. He's a kid we're going to talk about for several years.
Oh, absolutely. Especially, at the Division III level with the state makeup the way it is, he could be a multiple-time state champion. Kissel with a power half, 10 seconds left in the second period. They call a stalemate, 7 seconds left. Cardinal coaches telling Mast to push the action, get an escape with 7 seconds left. If he did, that would be huge. But I think 7 seconds is I don't know if that's enough time. Caution on Kissel for a false start. And time runs down, and Kissel rides out Mast. Kissel gets his choice to begin the third period. He chooses the bottom position. If he escapes, he'll extend his lead to 4-0. But Mast has to be looking for near fall points at this point.
Yeah, Mast has got a lot of work to do here. Number one, he can't give up an escape. He's going to have to look to turn Kissel. Mast, the returning state qualifier. Kissel comes in with a padded junior high resume and obviously a very outstanding freshman. And it looks like he's in position there. There's either 2 or 1. There's the reversal. So Kissel goes up 5-0.
And that was a really nice move. A lot of constant action by Kissel. And Mast is going to need to create to score points here. I don't think Kissel's going to give him much. Kissel's, at this point, going to just stay solid. With a 5-0 lead over returning state placer, you're not going to really do much.
Yeah, as we talked about earlier, the quality of competition here at the sectional tournament certainly isn't what it was in the past. But that 120-pound bout, and now this 126-pound bout certainly makes up for what we didn't see earlier in the day. I mean, you've got 4 outstanding wrestlers going back-to-back on the mat. Tough to beat that.
Boy, Kissel really looking to turn. He had that half deep. A minute left in the third period. Still 5-0 Kissel. Mast still trying to reach back, and that's not going to go well for him.
Third place, 7-2 decision at 126. The Beachwood Varsity 17, third place, 126.
For those of you at home, coming up next from Grand Valley, is Cody Rhodes, a sophomore. He will wrestle Cardinals Brandon Nykirk, a junior, at the 132-pound championship bout. We've got 10 seconds here.
And Kissel was getting one near fall count twice, but there were two separate times, so he will not get near fall points. The match will end 5-0 in favor of Logan Kissel.
So here we are, 132 pounds. Cardinal looking for a win. They need Brandon Nykirk to come up big over Cody Rhodes. Nykirk is 0-2 against Rhodes this season. Again, two very close matches. So this is one that the Huskies are hoping that Brandon can get over that hump a little bit and pull one of these victories out against Rhodes, another outstanding wrestler.
Well, interesting that you say that Nykirk is 0-2 against Rhodes, because Nykirk faced Kirtland's Mike Calvert in the semifinals. Mike Calvert won in their last match at the CVC tournament, but Nykirk reversed it in the semis and pinned Calvert and really controlled the action in the entire match. So that was a big win for Nykirk. He's probably going to be riding high with his confidence. Maybe he could do the same here.
Again, Kirtland and Cardinal are locked up in a very close team race, so this would go a long way in keeping the Huskies in it. Over on the third place match, you have Mike Calvert from Kirtland. He is wrestling from Brookfield, Dakota Randall, a sophomore. So Kirtland could gain some points over there for a third place finish, and Cardinal could win a championship here and gain some points in that team race.
And Rhodes in with a scramble with Nykirk, and he gets the takedown to make it 2-0 with 1:05 left in the first period.
Fifth place match, you have Garrettsville Garfield's Noah Heim against Berkshire's Jacob Hansen.
Rhodes pinching that near leg, was looking for an arm bar on the left side. Nykirk was trying to just kind of muscle him over, and I mean, with Rhodes pulling that far arm, that's not going to work. And now Rhodes is getting a near fall count. The ref signals 3 near fall points, so that extends Rhodes' lead to 5-0.
It's exactly what you didn't want if you were in the Cardinal corner. You didn't want to come out and fall behind early. You wanted to keep it close, see what can happen in the third period.
And the first period ends 5-0 in favor of Rhodes. Nykirk gets his choice of position. He chooses to defer. Rhodes in the blue. Oh, you know what? I think they're looking for blood. There was some blood on one of them.
To update you, the third place match, Mike Calvert is up 1-0 over Brookfield's Dakota Randall, start of the second period. And on the fifth place bout, it looks like Berkshire's Jacob Hansen leads Noah Heim of Garfield 5-0 in the second period. Start of the second period here, 132-pound championship bout. Cody Rhodes of Grand Valley will be in the down position. Brandon Nykirk of Cardinal on top. He's down 5-0 and needs some points.
Rhodes only a sophomore, Nykirk only a junior. Both will be back here next year. Nykirk is a name very familiar in wrestling circles too, especially from Cardinal.
Calvert now up 4-1 on mat 2. That's big for Kirtland. Again, any advancement points, championship placement points that you can earn. Oh, he's getting back points now too.
Nykirk in the top position. 1.5 minutes left in the second period. Nykirk riding the legs, trying to get a power half, looking for a turn to get a near fall count, near fall points. He's high, though. Rhodes trying to pop his butt up to sort of shake Nykirk off of him. And he might actually be able to. He might be able to do it. Can't really tell from this angle. But Nykirk is high.
Calvert with the pin for Kirtland for third place. That's 2 extra points. That's big.
And they call it a stalemate on the center mat. 47 seconds left in the second period. They'll reset. Nykirk still on top. 5-0 lead for Rhodes.
.35 seconds to go here in the second period. Rhodes has won tournament championships at Hawken and Cardinal this year. He was second at the Eastern Ohio Wrestling League tournament and 8th at the Hefner Memorial. Nykirk was 3rd at Aurora, 2nd at Cardinal, 2nd at Jackson Milton, and 2nd at Northwestern, and he placed 3rd at the Chagrin Valley Conference tournament.
And they're in a similar position as they were before. 10 seconds left. Nykirk riding the legs, but he's still high. Rhodes trying to shake him off. And time will run out in the second period. We'll go to the third. It's Nykirk's choice. He's down 5-0, and he will choose neutral. Interesting choice. But one you have to make, because if you're down by 5, obviously you need big points. And a way to get big points may be with a 5-point move from the neutral position. They're in a scramble. Nykirk was in a precarious position. He got out of it, and now they're reset back.
Checking in on the Division I sectional tournament at Willoughby South. I'm amazed to see this, Dan. Out of the first 8 weight classes, only 1 has been decided by a decision. The rest were major decisions or technical falls or pins.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, in high-level matches, you tend to have more close ones, but that doesn't always happen. And sometimes you get big margins.
Yeah, here we've had very close championship bouts. I think we're pretty fortunate in that regard. As I said, it was, maybe the tournament depth overall just wasn't there, but when you look at the championship matches, there's a lot of good kids here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Division III level, the difference between Division I and Division III generally isn't at the top. All the top kids, the state champs, are all very good. Where you see the difference is the depth, as you said. The second tier and the third tier in Division I are a cut above the lower divisions, and you'll have that because of the nature of it. You have less numbers. You have less, of those great athletes because you have less numbers. So that will happen.
10 seconds to go. Nykirk in a whole lot of trouble here, trailing 7-1. Make that 9-1. And that's how we're going to finish here at 132 pounds. 9-2. Nykirk with the escape.
And that was a really solid match by Cody Rhodes.
So we'll move to 138 pounds where Kirtland's Evan Francis, a senior, a returning state qualifier. He's 38-5 this year. He will wrestle Hawkins senior Corey Cox, who is 32-7 this year. And Dan, they wrestled in the CVC tournament, and things didn't go Evan Francis's way.
Well, Evan Francis, as you said, 2-time state qualifier, has had some issues this year, specifically dealing with asthma. He had an asthma attack at the CVC tournament, and that really impeded his level. As you saw, he defaulted to the 6th place at that tournament. For Evan, a multiple-time CVC champ, to default to 6th, you know something's wrong. So that was what happened there. Not to take anything away from Cox, because Cox is very, very, very good, but there was an asthma attack issue. So we head to the action here. 1.5 minutes left in the first period, 0-0. Oh, you know what? The clock started at. Yeah, clock started at 1:30. It should have been 2. Should have been 2 minutes. Anyway.
Yeah, this I know Evan Francis is a rematch he's been looking forward to ever since that CVC tournament.
Yeah.
I think he went in with the hopes of coming out with a CVC title, and the medical issues kind of prevented that from happening, and now he finds himself in trouble here as Cox gets the early takedown. It's 2-0.
Cox has been wrestling very, very well. And let me tell you, if Cox can hang with or beat a 2-time state qualifier, Hawken might have another kid going down to Columbus.
Yeah, well, here, Corey Cox started wrestling as a freshman in high school. This is his 4th year of wrestling. Evan Francis, he's in his 15th year of wrestling. He's a coach's son, so he grew up with wrestling shoes on his feet, and so Corey Cox has come a long way in a short 4 years, and that's great to see. It says a lot about Bob Rodriguez and his staff over at Hawken. And we talked about Seth King earlier, Louis DeMarco, Alex Stoddard. I mean, they've produced some pretty good caliber kids over the years. Absolutely,
and it's special for a kid who wrestles for his father. I mean, that's it, and it's special for the father too. I mean, I can only imagine. I don't have kids yet, but I can imagine what it would be like.
Yeah, Corey Cox, 3rd at the HIT, the Hawken Invitational, earlier this year. He was 8th at the North Coast Classic and 2nd at the Rocco Russo Invitational. Evan Francis was 2nd at Northwestern, 3rd at Willoughby South, and, of course, 6th at the CVC.
Cox and Francis, both seniors.
That's a potentially dangerous move. I can see why the Kirtland bench isn't real happy with that.
It's going to be interesting to see what the questioning is here.
The 3rd place bout was Garrettsville Garfield's Matt Kuzniakowski against Pymatuning Valley's Chad Brown. And over on the 5th place mat, we have Craig Schanauer of Cardinal against Grand Valley's Eduardo Hernandez. Looks like Schanauer's up 6-2 in the 2nd period there. Again, any win Cardinal can get at this point keeps them in the race with Kirtland. Kirtland gained some separation in that last, the 132-pound weight class, as Calvert recorded the pin and Nykirk wasn't able to come out with the win there in the championship bout.
And the wrestlers reset in the center. Cox still leading 2-0. 42 seconds left in the first period. Francis looking to escape, cut the lead to 2-1. Cox looking to keep him down, maybe try to turn, and Francis escapes, 2-1. Cox again gets on a single leg. They go out of bounds, but Cox has been able to get through Francis's defenses so far. And he does again. He gets in on a double. Francis trying to sprawl back. And this is where Francis is very comfortable. This is how he wrestles. He's a very fundamental defensive wrestler. These are his power positions.
Schanauer now up 11-4 in the 3rd period in the 5th place bout.
The period ends The first period ends 2-1 in favor of Cox from Hawken. Francis gets the choice to begin the second period. He chooses the bottom position, and we start. And Francis escapes to make it 2-2. Remember, Cox will have his choice in the third period, and he'll most likely choose down and try to escape as well. But for the time being, it's tied 2-2. Francis needs some offensive opportunities here.
Each other sizing up the opponent out there. Cox in with a double again. Scramble out of bounds. Minute 12 left here in the second period. We're all tied up at 2-2. Schanauer still holding court over on mat number 3 with an 11-4 lead.
Cox has been very impressive in his ability to penetrate and get good shots.
Yeah, he's got some explosive movement there, especially on that double. There's 2 for Cox. He'll take a 4-2 lead with 49 seconds left in the second. This is about the Hornets really could use as far as the team title goes. That and the seeding for Evan Francis moving into the district tournament next week, as we've talked about several times.
Yeah.
It's a much better path to go in as a number 1 than a number 2.
Absolutely. And they reset in the center, 46 seconds left in the second period, 4-2 in favor of Cox. Cox has the only 2 offensive scores in the match. Francis has 2 escapes. 3 escapes now. It's 4-3, but Francis is going to have to create some offense.
Again, that third period, Cox will have his choice. He'll likely choose the down position.
It was interesting, though, that the last takedown Cox got, it was off of a counter of
off of Francis's shot, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and here's Cox in again pretty deep. It looks like Francis was able to counter that one and hold off the clock.
I think if Francis had his choice, he would just counter all of what Cox does. I don't know that he's going to have the luxury of that now, though.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and give Cox that 1 point. It'll make it 5-3. Francis is going to need a takedown. He can't wrestle defensively here in the third. He's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive.
Cox in on a shot again. Jeez, oh man.
Yeah, we talked about the quickness there, the explosiveness. It's tough to defend that. Oh, Francis with the headlock.
Trying a big move.
And Cox counters. Francis almost came up with that headlock, which would have really turned the momentum in this match. It likely would have given him the lead with some back points there, but instead Cox countered, rolled through, and he comes up on top for the takedown in a 7-3 lead with a minute and a half left.
That was a really athletic move by Cox and showed some mat savvy, too. You have to know what you're doing to do that. Did he wrestle for Hawken last year?
Yeah, he's been in 4 years, so freshman year, yeah.
.53 seconds left in the third period. 7-3 lead for Cox of Hawken versus Francis of Kirtland.
This is a big match for Kirtland. They needed those points. The championship, you get 4 points for first place. You don't get any for second. They already include those in your team total.
I mean,
Cardinal added 2 for the 5th place finish by Craig Schanauer. Francis is going for a big move here, not just an escape. There's a reversal.
Francis gets a reversal to cut it to 7-5. He's got 28 seconds, but he's got to score 2 points. He either needs 2 near-fall points or, well, basically he needs 2 near-fall points.
Yeah, at this point you're almost in a position where you've got to kick him and go for a takedown, kick him again, and go for a match-winning takedown. But, yeah, you got to...
I don't know that he can do that, though.
Caution. No, you're right. It's a lot easier said than done.
No. I mean, like, he's not winning the takedown battle.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot easier said than done. But looking at the point, I mean, he hasn't been able to turn Cox either.
That's
so
true. That's a very good point.
You're just at a point here with 28 seconds left. You've got to make that tough decision. Either you're going to try and turn him or you're going to kick him and try and take him down, and neither of those options are good.
Absolutely. You just don't want to be down by 2 with 28 seconds left. But he's going to try to turn him. 16 seconds left. He has the power half.
He's definitely committed to that. He's now at 10 seconds, and he's in position. But, again, easier said than done to get those back points. Cox, all he's got to do is stay locked up, and he's going to win this match 7-5. That's a big win for the Hawks. That gives them 2 sectional champions to go along with Lewis DeMarco. Big win for Corey Cox.
Gotta tell you, I am extremely impressed by Corey Cox. He really...
he wrestled a heck of a match there. Yeah. He was aggressive, came out with the big takedowns when he needed them, and he had some great defense as well.
He did. And Evan Francis is a 2-time state qualifier. I mean, this is a really, really, really good kid.
Yeah, that's a big win for Corey Cox. And it validates his first one at the CBC tournament.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Then here we go. We moved to 145 pounds where Kirtland's going to try and regroup after that upset loss. You've got Chris Brown, a junior from Kirtland. He's 20-15 in the year. He will wrestle Grand Valley sophomore Nathan Rasmussen.
Rasmussen gets, I guess, tries for a shot. Brown fends him off with underhooks. They reset in the center. Rasmussen again in on a shot. Single leg. Tries to switch to a double. Brown sprawls back. Gets in a front headlock. Tries to pull that near leg in and spins around, gets the 2. Brown's got to watch out that he doesn't get too high.
Chris Brown comes in with a 20-15 mark. Nathan Rasmussen is 20-17, so these two wrestlers are pretty equal. How about this for a GPA for Chris Brown? 4.1.
Wow. That is great. Brown looking for near fall points with that opposite side half and the legs. Now that he's settled back, he has a lot more control. When he was getting too high before, and now he is again. That might be trouble for Brown.
Wow, he's got that strong left hand right there, and then those hips, switching the hips, that kept him in position.
Yeah.
Avoided giving up that reversal. That was a big move for Chris Brown.
He scooted his hips out just at the right time.
Sure did. And like I said, he had that strong left hand. He kept that half on the head and was just able to kind of maneuver his body into position. So he went from a bad position to a good position. It's never a bad thing.
And the period ends with a score 2-0 in favor. 27 seconds left. It's 7-1 in favor of Marker. That 1 point for Havistow came when Marker let him up. And Havistow now in on an attempt and gets the 2. How about that for a reversal of fortunes there? All right, we go to the second period. Havistow on the bottom. Marker from Newbury leads 7-3. He'll be on top. Marker again looking for, well, I thought he was looking for cradle, but he's not.
I want to apologize for the technical difficulties we experienced here a minute ago. We lost our feed for a moment. Back on now, so apologize for that. But we will have the full video recording, the archive following the meet. Once in a while, we lose our connection. That's technology not working in our favor.
That happens, unfortunately. Marker again looking to turn Havistow. Marker has had Havistow almost turned a whole bunch of times, and Havistow's been able to shift out of it. Now, Havistow looking for a cradle, but yeesh.
Marker goes up 9-5.
He's in bad position
there.
Yeah.
We'll make that 12-5 after the 3 back points. Cade Marker on top.
38 seconds left in the second period. As Steve said, 12-5 in favor of Marker from Newbury.
Over on the third place mat, you have Kirtland's Anthony Porter coming up with a win for the Hornets. He defeated Leonard Udell from Pymatuning Valley. Marker up 12-5, 25 seconds left in the second, and he's got the cradle. Almost started scoring there.
Marker trying for that near side cradle. Havistow is able to...
he's got it in place now. But he ran out of time in the second period.
And they'll go to the third period with a 14-5 lead for Cade Marker of Newbury over Alan Havistow of Wycliffe. They'll go neutral. Watch the throw. They're in an over-under position. Havistow tries a lateral throw.
Well, you're in the third period, down 9. You've got to try something, and you got to take some risks. And he scores there. It'll make it 14-7. But I don't think he's in a position where he can just go for a turn right now. He might have to let him up and go for that 5-point move again to get back into the match. 14-7, minute 29 left.
And that's exactly what he does. He does let him up. That's going to make it 15-7. He'll try to play the takedown game here. And Marker immediately goes to a Russian tie, which does tend to stop just about every throw. So
Havistow locks it up, and they go out of bounds. We're down to a minute 14 here at the 195-pound championship bout.
Havistow pressuring in really hard. And he gets put to his back because he was pressuring in
right.
hard.
That's not the way you want to try and get back into a match. So that'll make it 17-7 with 3 back points. It's going to be 20-7. Marker now threatening the technical fall.
Marker has 45 seconds to turn him. And he is getting a near fall count. 3. Two near fall points. Extends his lead to 19-7.
I'm not sure they gave him the near fall points
You're right,
on the last one,
They
so I
didn't.
think it's 22-7. I think this match should be over, but I'm not the official scorekeeper. Now they're calling him over, and I think they will get this
tech
corrected.
fall.
Yeah, it should be 22-7. Scoreboard shows 19-7 with 17 seconds left. My unofficial scoreboard has it at 22-7.
So that's a sophomore for Newbury, 29 wins, sectional champion.
Yep, so there it is. We've got a technical fall, 22-7. Cade Marker is going to go ahead and win his sectional championship for the Newbury Black Knights. Alan Havisto will finish second. Both will advance to next week's district tournament at Garfield Heights. And that will move us into the 220-pound bout. The championship match there will be between Brookfield Junior Zach Hackett, who is 24-7. He will wrestle freshman Stephen Dodge of Pymatooning Valley, who enters the match with a 26-10 record. Two underclassmen again here in the upper weights. We talked earlier about how rare that has been in the past, but we're seeing it more and more now.
A freshman at 220 with 26 wins? That's rare. And they're discussing, I think, bands. Yeah, ankle bands with the wrestlers. Hackett from Brookfield is in the white with blue trim. Dodge from Pymatooning Valley is in the maroon singlet. Well, maroon with a lot of other stuff singlet. They get into an upper body lock, overs and unders.
Updated team scores with 2 weights remaining. Fifth place, 101.5 Newbury. Fourth place, 102 Garrettsville Garfield. Third place, 132.5 Cardinal. Second place, 138 Pymatooning Valley. And in the lead, 156 points for the third quarter.
And if you didn't hear the team scores there, Kirtland is in first place comfortably over Pymatooning Valley, who overtook Cardinal, who entered the finals round in second place. The Huskies dropped to third. Pymatuning's in second with 130 points, and Kirtland with 156 will go on to win the sectional championship.
Back to the action. We have a minute left in the first period, still 0-0. Hackett trying to get a takedown at the edge, and they go out of bounds.
.45 seconds left here in the first period.
Hackett definitely looks the bigger of the two.
Oh, no doubt. He looks all of 220 pounds. It looks like Dodge comes in a little bit smaller, the shorter of the two wrestlers.
I'm sure being a freshman, he hasn't really developed in the weight room as much.
First-year wrestler, Stephen Dodge, a first-year wrestler. So
that's amazing.
To reach the sectional finals as a freshman first-year wrestler. He was third at Hawkins, second at Riverside, seventh at Kenston, and third at Jackson Milton. So he's got some experience as a freshman coming in and, some experience in the finals round.
He's a first-year wrestler, and he got all those placements?
And on top of that, he carries a 4.0 GPA.
Wow.
Hackett was first at the Howland Invitational. He was 8th at the Hefner Tournament and 4th at the EOWL Tournament.
That's a pretty good set of accomplishments himself.
Hackett in his 8th year wrestling, Dodge in his first. And they both find themselves paired up in the 220-pound championship bout of the 2015 Division III Sectional Wrestling Tournament at Beachwood High School.
Neither wrestler has been able to score thus far. A minute 45 left in the second period. Hackett on the bottom. Dodge on top.
Over on mat number 2, the third place bout, we have another one of those outstanding Newberry underclassmen, the heavier weights over there. You have Joe Ewell, a sophomore, returning district qualifier. He is wrestling junior Dylan Che of Kirtland. Ewell is up 2-1 in that match with the second period coming to a close. And we had no fifth place bout at 220 pounds. And we will have no fifth place bout at 285 pounds.
There was a fifth placer, I believe, at... No, there wasn't. No. This is a four-man weight class.
Right.
That was 195. They had a fifth placer.
So Hackett with the 1-0 lead here, about midway through the second period. Minute left. Neither wrestler is really taking control here. We've got a stalling call on Dodge. That's going to give Hackett a 2-0 lead.
That means that there had already been a stalling warning. And now Hackett, with a deep double, he gets the 2, extends his lead to 4-0.
Dan, when you were a senior, do you remember who was in the sectional championship, what grade those wrestlers were?
Well, I was in the sectional championship. I was a senior.
Did you wrestle
a senior from, Pymatuning Valley.
Well, our two heavyweights, one is a freshman, one is a sophomore.
That is
and the
not usual.
And the third place bout is a pair of sophomores. So you had 3 sophomores and a freshman competing here at the sectional tournament at 285 pounds.
And the favorite at this weight class, really, based on what happened during the year.
Well, we had 2 that should have been here that neither are here.
The Cardinal kid?
Cardinals, Lester Troyer, and Kirtland's Dylan Deemer.
Yeah,
how different that weight class could have looked.
Oh, hugely different.
And that's amazing, too, what Kirtland was able to accomplish, not only without Dylan Deemer, but without Brendan Williamson, who would have been the number 1 seed at 106 pounds.
Yeah, that's a shame. Brendan Williamson, let me tell you, he has been working his butt off. I have tons of respect for him. It was a tough cut to 106 pounds. And he just got an illness at the wrong time.
Yeah, last night.
He was in the hospital.
Right.
He was in the hospital last night. They were pumping fluid in him. So.
Yeah. So he was ready to wrestle today. Last night he went to bed and had some abdominal pain and unfortunately it didn't work out in his favor. Fortunately, he's got another year to come here and take care of business. So.
Absolutely, and talking about it with the coaches. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near 106 next year. I believe he'll be at 120 or somewhere around there.
160.
Yeah, 160, right, yeah.
Yeah, after this year and, cutting from, whatever it was, 115 down to 106 or whatever, getting down there. And, that off season, he'll probably grow a little bit. And a few visits to Chipotle or Hooley House, whatever it takes. But, yeah.
Now, if you know the Williamsons, they are lean kids, but he's got a muscular frame on him.
Oh, there's Hackett with a takedown near the edge of the mat. That'll put him up 6-0 with 1 minute and 2 seconds to go. Hackett, a returning district qualifier, he's 24-7. Dodge is 26-10 as a freshman, first-year wrestler to win 26 matches.
That just blows my. With all those placements he had, that just blows my mind. How is that possible?
Pymatuning Valley has always had a few of those kids. Some of those upper weights, they've just, I don't know what it is, but they've done well in the upper weights.
Yeah. Brookfield generally has some state caliber wrestlers. This year, I don't know if they have that kid, but they have some strong spots in their lineup.
Down to 20 seconds here in the 220-pound championship bout. Zach Hackett in control with a 6-0 lead over Pymatuning Valley. Stephen Dodge, probably one of the big stories of the tournament, a freshman first-year wrestler.
6-1, 10 seconds left.
And Hackett's going to win this one 6-1. Zach Hackett of Brookfield will go to the Division III Garfield Heights District Tournament as a number 1 seed. Stephen Dodge will go as a number 2. And that leads us to our final weight class of the night. 285 pounds. They don't like to be called heavyweights anymore. You will have Wycliffe freshman Patrick Sheridan. He's 20-11 this season. He will wrestle Grand Valley sophomore Austin Mathis. He enters the match with a 20-14 record. 2 20-match winners, a freshman and a sophomore. Over on mat number 2, the third place bout. Pymatuning Valley sophomore Jarrett Wright against Berkshire sophomore Tony Bubba Urban.
Now, I thought that Jarrett Wright pitched for the Indians back
in
the 90s.
He did. He's back, trying something new.
But
that baseball thing didn't work out, apparently.
Yeah. But anyway, speaking of Pat Sheridan, though, I remember when we broadcasted the duel between Wycliffe and Kirtland at Kirtland, but I think he was in another match too that we had. He was impressive. For a freshman, I mean, he can move. He's a big kid. He's strong. And just as I say that, the Grand Valley wrestler asserts himself. But Sheridan gets out of it. So, it starts 2-0 in favor of Austin Mathis of Grand Valley. Pat Sheridan does get out of it. He gets his escape. It'll be 2-1. Another snap down for Austin Mathis. They're in upper body ties. Mathis controlling where it's going.
Bubba Urban up 2-0 after the first period on mat number 3. He leads Jarrett Wright of Pymatuning Valley.
4-1 lead for Mathis. He must have gotten 2 back points in that flurry at the beginning.
Yeah, that was the 2 near fall. Now he gets another takedown to make it 6-1.
And Sheridan looking for a roll to a near fall.
Oh, and he
just rolled himself.
Right, yeah. He had bad hips on that, and Mathis made him pay with a pin in 1 minute 19 seconds.